Alex Robles here to present my living cases assignment for the startup company Relay. So Relay was founded in 2019, and the company line describing it is a solution helping seeding teams, underwriters, and brokers structure and transfer risk faster and digitize and augment their deal-making network. So that likely doesn't mean much to someone outside the insurance industry, a lot of jargon in there, but it is essentially an insurtech startup helping to streamline processes, specifically in the commercial reinsurance segment. The company was founded by a venture capitalist, but if you look at the board, they have about 40% of the members have an insurance background, so the rest are venture capitalists and tech. So before jumping into Relay's product offering, thought it might be useful to give a brief overview of the commercial insurance and reinsurance. So commercial insurance essentially is when someone, say they own a building, they have to go through a broker who then goes to an underwriter who will underwrite their policy and provide them insurance through an insurance company. So you have a $10 million building, the broker goes out to market, he goes out to different carriers being like Travelers or Farmers and whatnot, or AIG. And then the underwriter gives you a price and lets the broker know how much they're willing to put up in terms of limit. So they might put up the full $10 million limit or not. And when reinsurance comes into play, it's essentially insurance for insurance. So it's something that I didn't know existed until I got into the industry. But it's if the underwriter does not want to take on the whole risk, so they will get the risk reinsured. So you have this $10 million building, and you may go to a reinsurer who might want to take on 5 million of it. So one company takes on 5 million, the other company takes on 5 million excess of that, or there's buffer layers and whatnot. But the next slide, which shows the products, will give a little bit more of a clear picture on what reinsurance is and how Relay fits into the whole picture. So here are the product offerings of Relay. So the one on the right is the Risk Tower Builder. So again, if you're not in the industry, it probably just looks a little bit odd, but it's fairly straightforward if you break it down. This is actually a pretty good chart that they created. So essentially, what Relay does is helps underwriters, what we discussed in the last slide. It helps them place reinsurance. So a tower is essentially, like in our previous example, like a $10 million building. Here they have a $50 million building. And this is an example of how different reinsurers can attach to this policy. So the first carrier under the primary retention might take the first 5, and then another reinsurer might take, as you can see in item 1, 10 million excess of 5. So now you're up to 25 million. And then the next reinsurer might take 80% of 10 million excess of that, or excess of 15, excuse me. So it really gets, a little bit complex, but really very simple. You just have different people taking parts of the pie. They don't want to take on the whole risk. They take on part of it, and they price it appropriately, and there's commission that is split. So in the end, it's really the insured paying this large premium and then it getting chopped up to different companies in a way that everybody hopefully will benefit. And Relay really builds this this app or software that makes it easier. So instead of manually emailing or calling a reinsurer, you just type in your risk characteristics into this software, and then it automatically sends it to market, and ideally would come back in a fast manner. And the other products are essentially related to that. So you have the dashboard. I didn't include the pictures, but I can explain them. Dashboard that makes it clear like what's going on. You can see who you're sending it to, and the Excel product is really just that. It's just extracting information from Excel, making it more accessible. And the rest, email integration, controls and permissions, and interactive reports are generally tied to tracking of client interactions. I was on the website, it shows you how long it took for some, how long it would take a reinsurer to respond. So you're just tracking your sales, you're tracking the deals. It's nothing overly complex, just an easy way to do it, and something that in the past is done manually. So it's really something that just streamlines the process, makes it easier for underwriters and reinsurers to work together, track their deals, and hopefully make it all go faster. Can Relay actually help? It's a good question. It could potentially help by streamlining this brokering and underwriting process. Many insurance companies are fairly antiquated in their processes, so much of what Relay is describing is probably a system that companies in other industries already have in place. The big challenge will really be to convince an old school industry that this sort of change is required. I think individuals will likely be hesitant to adopt automation, even in the slightest. So like in this example, it's really not, really not taking anything away. Everyone's still paying each other. You're still paying reinsurers. Reinsurers still give, commissions still given. It just makes it a little bit faster. But I think, in this relationship business is what they call it. You don't really want to automate anything because you're potentially taking someone's job, and even if it's an assistant or something like that. I think the industry is old school in that regard. They want to keep everything in house, and they're very slow to adopt technology. So I'm kind of curious to see if this app could actually be beneficial, because there's really not any competitors in the market that do exactly what Relay is doing. So the opportunity for Relay, there's in 2019 the reinsurance market for non-life insurance, this is not including life insurance, it's a huge segment, took in 190 billion in premium in 2019. So this is commercial property casualty premium, what Relay would be focusing on. So it's certainly an opportunity. I think the insurance industry in general took in like 5 trillion in premiums, so like a extremely high number worldwide. And there's really, InsurTech really hasn't emerged. The only company that maybe household name type of deals are maybe Metro Mile or Lemonade, but those are, it's still in the personal line space. So it's not even dealing with commercial insurance pretty much. So there's definitely a lot to be gained, and all the products, to comment on the timeline, I think they're all available now. I was online, it appears so. And, they have a few investors. They have one large insurance company as an investor, but they really only have 4 VCs in an insurance company pretty much. So it's definitely in the early stages, but, there's certainly opportunity, and curious what will end up happening with this company. So that is the end. Thank you all for watching. I think the accompanying paper should maybe make it a little more clear if I was very confusing in my presentation, but I hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for viewing.